television is about drama. So most suicides are dramatic events on TV. Somebody jumps off a building or whatever. If we look at TV shows, and it was funny. I was trying to think on the way up here. Is there any TV show that I ever watched or a movie that dealt with it realistically? Realistically. And now this is a little. I could come up with nothing, except I came up. The two things that came was It's a Wonderful Life. The movie It's a Wonderful Life. It's about an individual, you know, and who when you look at that movie, that's somebody who attempted suicide and then went back and Claire threw the whole thing on. And of course, the other thing is not a TV thing. It was Romeo and Juliet. After that, I was at a blank. I can think of nothing, not like, you know, Bones or you know, all these detective shows that has brought the knowledge and the concept forward. Because it is only an event, you have to deal with realistically. You have to have real people. Now, I don't mean to be too humorous. I don't want to do a reality TV show on the thing. But where is that show? Where is that documentary? Where is that well-done piece of information?
They had a couple shows that I thought were good. Like in treatment, they had a couple sessions where the therapist was not doing well, and I was getting frustrated with it, and then opened up some post-traumatic stress stuff, and then didn't do anything with it, and then 2 sessions later, the person committed suicide. And then what's the one with Sissy Spacek? It's very powerful.
Night Mother.
Night Mother movie.
I don't know that.
Oh, that's with her preparing. She lived with her mother, and she was preparing her. She was Sissy Spacek, and who's the mother? Who's
Anne Bancroft.
Anne Bancroft. And she was preparing her mom because she was happy finally that she made the decision to kill herself. So she was getting everything prepared and ready and telling mom, "Don't worry, I'm going to do it." And the whole thing is centered around her. And you're thinking that she's not going to go through it, and she ends up going through it and happily, because she finally made a decision. It was very impactful. What's the name of that movie?
Night Mother. Night Mother. You know,
like Good Night, as in Good Night.
Like Good Night, Night Mother. It was a play, and the real powerfulness about that movie or that play is the fact that she opens to her mom that she is going to suicide that night, and during that whole day they spent together was her living psychological autopsy of what led her to that place, as she tells her story. And that was very powerful about that. That would be a great movie to see and have a dialogue with, because it does talk about all the signs and symptoms and all the things, the connections with mental health and suicide. All those things are in there. You know, when we talk about this whole issue about media and suicide, it becomes so complex that I told Judy, I'd like to see us look at TV. At the time we were discussing, you know, what could be a good topic for us to talk about this time, I was reading about the Housewives of Beverly Hills, which is a reality show. And my daughter and I have watched that past 3 seasons. What has happened is, although the reality show focuses on the wives and their activities, in this particular series of women, one of the husbands, took his life 3 weeks before the show was premiering the new season. 3 weeks before. So in August, he died.
In real life.
In real life. This August.
Yeah.
And the show was starting in September. So there was this big hullabaloo, is what do we do? Because even though he's not a main character, he is a character in this reality show, because the husbands do come in to play in various program.
And they were trying to look for signs, you know, and why he did what he did, and, you know,
Well,
all the talk shows.
Yeah,
Kept
it was a
wondering
big
why,
thing.
and did you see it coming, and did you have any indicators, and still they talk about it.
And the interesting part is that I had watched this, because my daughter, you know, was into that, so I was watching it with her, and watching this gentleman, even though we're getting tidbits of him, for me, I could see a man that's depressed, a man that's in trouble. And there was, you know, they were alluding, the wife was very protective of her husband, and she was very involved in domestic violence issues. And she really did fundraising for domestic violence. She had been raised in a domestic violence home, so she's been through abuse throughout her life. And what she was also doing is shielding issues of domestic violence in this relationship. But somehow you could kind of pick up tidbits and stuff without them. However, this particular season, with her being involved in the show, she was finding her voice more. And there was involvement in treatment for both of them. And it's been, a lot of things came to light throughout this show, and they weren't sure how to edit it, if they should not show it after he died, should we, you know, can it, should we show it? Well, they decided to show it, and I'm not clear what they edited out of, because we don't know. But what I am seeing, what they've done with that is, they were able to put a show together before the opening. And in that beginning, all the main players, their husbands, the main housewives, and their husbands, sat together and talked about their feelings, about learning about Russell Armstrong's death. And things that they were saying that they wish, you know, they suspected certain things, that they wish they might have been more mindful of him, you know, and so that discussion came out. And after that, every time they've been showing the show, they not only have the helpline on before, during, and after, they also do a snippet with Kevin Hines, who survived after his attempt off of the Golden Gate Bridge. Isn't that the Golden Gate Bridge?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
His survival from that, and talking about suicide. So, and also dealing with the issues of domestic violence that have gone on. So in this instance, they have taken a horrific casualty from the show and did some learning with it. Education. And I was looking more into it. We pulled up some information. We've seen where other reality shows, for example, Extreme Makeover. How many people love that show? Extreme Makeover. You give a family a dream house, right? They're down and out. They have a down and out story, right? And we try to give them a beautiful new home, and we take care of other things for them to make this a magical moment so their life's going to start over. There was an incident that happened with Extreme Makeover where this family was going through a lot of financial and difficult situation, hardship. They had a family member that lived with them who was considered the ugly duckling, and they never really talked about this woman in the family who was very devastated by her looks, and she had a very difficult time in life because of the way she looked. Well, they encouraged them, for the sake of this story, to highlight the ugly duckling. And so family members were able to share their true feelings that they don't really say to the sister, but they were doing that on camera. And they also promised the sister that at the end of the makeover of the house, they were also going to make over her. But that piece got dropped.
It didn't happen, or it didn't happen, or they didn't show it?
They gave the house and everything, but they didn't make over the woman who was exploited on the show. And she took her life not long after.
You know, I'm still gonna back up. I can do a literature search on autism in the media, movie after movie after movie. I can do it on substance abuse. I can do it on schizophrenia. We can all name all kinds of movies about mental health conditions that there's plenty of stuff out there on. But it does seem to me when it comes to suicide, unless it's somebody famous, unless there's some drama to it, there's not much out there. I just don't think that there is. The examples you're giving me are like, oh yeah, when this happened, but it's just, and I think I applaud this billboard like you wouldn't believe, because we put it in people's face. You know,
wouldn't you think we may see a correlation of it being higher among anything that's being done with PTSD and our troops? Because whenever we're dealing with anything that deals with the PTSD and any veterans, the pain that they have to deal with coming home, there's always that underlying wanting to, being so displaced and wanting to die.
I think what Larry's getting at, though,